Okay. Glory, glory, glory. What a new and wonderful day. Beginning of the week. It seems like on Mondays, a lot more people show up or watch them. Who knows? By the end of the week, people are already tired or something. But you know, if you and I are about numbers, then I heard someone over the weekend that he says, you know, I'm going to build my church, whatever it takes, this person basically said. Oh, yeah. And if you look at my page, you'll know who I'm talking about. So I'm going to build my church. He says, either I'm going to speak to them and they're going to come. I'm going to get a van and basically chloroform them and get them there. Now, obviously, he wasn't literally going to do that. But hey, that's one way to get the people there, isn't it, Daniel? Go out on the street, chloroform them, and bring them to church. Though we won't do it that way, will we? Now, we're considering what is our room like, Brenda. And when I'm talking about room, it's like, oh, okay, it's arranged so and so. It's like it's nice or it's a little full, whatever it is of things. But we're not talking about this room out here. We're talking about the room up here, right? Yes. So, family, we are talking about the room of your mind. What is the room of your mind like? And I'm going to give you something for some of you that changes the way you think about something. And that is anger. Anger. Well, we just need to get into it. Otherwise, I'm going to spill all the beans out. But I want to tell you before we get into this, here you go. Okay. Once upon a time, there lived a king who was only 12 inches tall. He was a terrible king, but he made a great ruler. That's a dad joke, right? That was like, I think it was through Robert Wilkinson? Yeah, it was Robert Wilkinson posted something that said, what does baby corn say to mama corn? I don't know what you say. Where's popcorn? Okay, now let's get into this. Yeah. So here's the thing in the room of our mind. And, I just need to look at this. And so we got it and not, I don't want to mess it up. So we're in Ephesians 4, and there's different words for anger. And I'm going to change. I said this. I'm going to change the way you think about something. Well, I don't want to change it. I want you to consider it. I want you to consider something different. Now, this is not like Adam and Eve, and they're, oh, I don't take that thing off. I don't know why. It just isn't me. So was I getting angry? I don't know. But look at this. In Ephesians 4:25, therefore, having put away falsehood, let each of you speak truth with his neighbor. Now, that means, now I'm going to tell you, here it is. And this isn't the point I'm going to make that I said I was going to make. So, man, I go down the street, I speak the truth with my neighbors. But you know what happens when I take a left and get on the next street? I'm not telling them the truth. Are you kidding? That's not what it's talking about, is it? Okay, so there's a godly anger and there's an ungodly anger. And that's what we want to understand today. So speak the truth with his neighbor. Hey, who's your neighbor? Who are you going to treat like your neighbor? For we're members of one another. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down down on your anger or upon your anger in the King James. There was a while back I did a sharing, and it's been a little while, about a minister who he had great success in ministry and sealing healing. Great success. But his mom got really sick, like cancer or something. It was really bad. I just wish I could remember it better. And he ministers, prays for his mom, speaks life over his mom, the same as he does with the others. And the mom doesn't get healed like the others. What's wrong? So he goes back to the person who instructed him and said, well, your love for that person, we're not talking agape love. We're talking, phileo love. You're like your brotherly love, your family love for your mom. You treat her different than you do the others when the devil's in their life, or taking space, taking place, which is what we're getting to. You can't give the devil place. And when you're connected to someone in family, sometimes you don't see results because of that earthly love you have for them. It interferes with the godly love so the power of God doesn't come forth. And you cannot let the devil have a place like that. We haven't even read that yet. Okay, we're getting there. Got to get ahead of myself. You know what you do when you get ahead of yourself? Well, you better just get your head and reattach it back on, or you better slow down or slow the head down, speed the body up so they reconnect, something like that. So be angry, do not sin, because I'm in verse 26 of Ephesians 4. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down upon your anger. Okay. Now, you and I were taught, as I remember, or a number of us were taught, uh, and I'm still looking at this, but this is what I'm seeing. So you don't go to bed angry. You don't go to bed angry. Now, it's supported if we go down a few verses. So if we go down to verse, what is this, 31, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. If you put something away biblically, right, you are not carrying it anymore. So you don't carry that anger. But it's a different word in the earlier languages. So in the Greek, the word here, the anger you put away, is one type. It's this. I got it in my photos here. No wonder I can't tell. Like clicking the thing for the Greek word. Well, it's one kind of anger. How's that? And then this anger, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down upon your anger. It's a different type of anger. God is not swift to anger, right? And we're not to be quick to anger. But there is a indignation. I don't want to say vengeance, because vengeance is mine, says the Lord. There's a anger, which I'll find the word in a few minutes, actually, because I know I'm going to come across it. That is a godly anger. That kind of anger you should still have, but not the anger that men carry, the wrath, the vengeance. I'm going to take you out. If you come over here and you mess with my family again, I'm going to get out my Dirty Harry 44 Magnum, and we're going to see which talks louder. You know what that is, some of you. Anyway, so we are to be angry spiritually. A righteous anger. Yeah, we'll call it a righteous anger because that fits. Okay. Now, I want to show you something here. And to show you this, we're going to go to this James 1:19. James 1:19. Good morning, Pam. So, what is your room of your mind like? If you get sick and you accept it, well, that's just part of who I am now. The enemy has taken place in your mind, right? So, yeah, when we don't give him play, we don't give the enemy place. I'm kind of, don't give the devil, because verse 27, but I'm back in Ephesians 4 for a moment, getting reconnected here, and give no opportunity to the devil. And give no opportunity to the devil. So, you know what? I develop a problem, a limp or something. I don't know why. I develop an ache or something. And so I just accept it. Well, I guess that's just part. As I've had it so long, it's just part of who I am. So I use a crutch of some kind because I deal with that. Well, once you give the devil place, room, what is our room like? Once we give him place and room, he is able to take more room. That's why you stand against disease, right? Sickness, oppression, depression. We stand against not having mental health, being mentally out of bounds, or what is going on in our room of our mind. We stand against sickness. We stand against poverty. God has never declared someone is to be poor, even though Jesus said the poor you'll always have with you. Yeah, we have, because Jesus said the poor that have the gospel preached to them, and the preaching of the gospel is that Christ came to give us life more abundantly, and he just didn't come to give us to us in one category. Now, that doesn't mean we have to be millionaires, but every need should be met in our lives. We're never to lack. I've not seen the righteous forsaken nor a seed begging bread. So you stand against, if like a health issue comes up, you stand against that baby. You don't. We don't stay on the crutch. I know I have to deal with things in my own life. We don't stay in that place where I accept it, because I'm telling you, the enemy will take more room as time goes on. And one thing will develop into another. Well, you stand against that dude. You don't give him any place. So that anger, do not let the sun go down on your anger. It's a word that also can be translated indignation or exasperation. I'm just done with what I see the enemy doing, and he's not taking any place anymore. That is a good attitude to have, and you don't let the sun go down on that. Now, the other kind, the wrath of man, yeah, you don't need that, because the wrath of man, here we're going to see this. And I said, James 1, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be swift to hear, King James, quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Yeah, this is this second form that we're not supposed to carry. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Okay? This anger of man, the world's anger, will not produce what God's want to produce. So I tell you what, enemy, if we were attacked by a foreign nation, and that foreign nation is coming on my property, my area, yeah, I'm probably going to get out whatever I have. There's going to become both barrels blazing at him. Yeah, it would probably be that, but I don't see that in the definition. I have to go look at it again, Daniel. It needs a little more fine tuning. But there's a righteousness and anger of God, a righteous anger, and there's an ungodly anger. And yeah, rage would fit in that category, because vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I don't think it's a rage. We don't understand it to be that. So the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. But wait a minute. I want to show you something else. Okay, this is Mark 3. And this is about a man with a withered hand. When you have a withered hand, you can't use it. You can't open it, right? Well, I guess it's the way it is. The doctor said, I'm going to have a withered hand for the rest of my life. Boy, you better stand against that baby, or that's what the deal will be. You keep standing until the results come. You don't quit, because you have the power and working of God behind you. You have sunbeams of glory and light infusing you by the Spirit of God. So he entered the synagogue, Jesus did, in Mark 3, and there was a man with this withered hand, and they were watching Jesus. They weren't thanking God. Oh, God, it's so good Jesus is here. You know why I'm so happy Jesus is here? Because this man's probably going to get healed today. No, is it on the right day at the right time and with the pharisaical or the religious blessing? Totally messed up. Isn't that the world? They just want to come after you. It was an account the other day. This minister I was at, he's in Pennsylvania. If you go back, you'll know who this minister is. So he's in Pennsylvania ministering. And when the COVID thing started happening, like 2020 or something like that, they're closing down churches. Now, we know there's a separation of church and state, and the churches influence the government. The government is not to influence our churches. The churches that shut down during COVID, many of them closed. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, COVID. I tell you, you read, Psalm 91? You read about the power of God working. I tell you, you don't back down for a plague or anything. Because when you back down, you give the enemy place. And again, so many churches did that. They've lost members, or they closed, or different things happen. I tell you, you keep your church open when the government says close, because you're open because God says to be open. I think you're kind of getting my drift here, right? Are you getting that drift? Okay. And this is not drift car racing where they go around the turns and they slide out and drift. No, we're talking about you're getting the idea that God has for us. Okay. So let's get this. All right. So they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the holy day, the Sabbath, which was their Saturday. So you think Sunday's really special. Well, they did their thing on Saturday, okay? Maybe that one group, what is it, the Jehovah Witness? No, Seventh-day Adventist, maybe both of them. They get it right, whatever it is on Saturday. But I'm going to tell you, every day is to be the same heart for the Father. So every day should be glorious with our Father. Every day we should honor our God and Father. Every day should respect him. It's not one special day, it's every day is special. Didn't he make every day? Yeah. Now, they watched Jesus, so they got on their specs and they're looking at him and they said, let's see if he will heal him on this holy day. Again, not like, it's Jesus. We thank you, Lord, that you sent the healer. So that they might accuse him. They're not giving him a blue ribbon, right? They're not even going to give him, what is it? I don't know, what's third place, red or something? Blue, red, whatever, the 3 ribbons you get or something. Anyways, awards. So he said to the man with the withered hand, hey, come here. And he said to them, now, what if the man didn't come here? He didn't come, like, don't come forward, whatever. It was like, he ain't got any believing. I have to work with him a little more. So come here. And he said to the man, okay, and he said to the man with the withered hand, come here. And he said to them, the Pharisees, the religious people, you guys are so right. We should not be doing healing on a special day. Look, dude, step back. Let's do it another day. Hey, okay, I'll be back tomorrow. No, he didn't back down in the face of adversity or pressure from the world. He said, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or harm, to save life or kill? Hey, they kept their mouths shut. They were zippered. In fact, it was like duct tape on them. But they were silent. And they looked around about them with anger. Oh, I'll get it right. Just let me read it again. And he looked around about them with anger. This is the anger that it says we're not to have. We're not to carry this form of anger. Yeah, but he did it. Even Jesus, he's right, the perfect Savior. He's a man. He got angry. So did he keep this kind of anger? No. But he was angry because they were standing against the purposes and plans of God to bring deliverance. So looked around them with them anger, grieved at the hardness of their hearts, of their heart. So do you get that? That's interesting. When people stand against the things, the move of God, they're trying to stop your fellowship, your ministry, your church, the working that God has in your life. When the government tells you to do something and it's moving against what God has declared, there's a reason to have an anger in that situation. But this is a type that we don't carry. And so he's not to keep, right? And he said to the man, stretch out your hand. He stretched it out and his hand was restored. And for that moment, that anger was useful, wasn't it? It absolutely was. And this is the anger that Ephesians 4 says, let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, and slander be put away from you. Jesus, don't keep that anger. I assure you, Jesus did not keep that anger. So knowing the righteousness of God is not produced by the anger of man. This is an anger of man that even Jesus had. It's not an anger that God has. So when we look at this, and what is our room like, and what are our thoughts like, when the enemy tries to take place, something's happening in your life, you stand against that baby. Catherine, you can remind me, maybe write me about it and what it is. But the godly anger, you should keep. You should keep a godly anger. But it doesn't mean it needs to be boiling all the time. But the anger of man, it's, we're not to carry it. So how the anger when Jesus flipped the tables. Yeah, you need to look that up. We need to look that up. Let's see. Money changers. I don't know if mine's going to show it. Google Bible. Jesus threw out the money changers. We'll look it up. So it looks like it's in John 2:13 through 16. So let's just take a minute and we'll just fly to there and we're going to find out. What did they say? John 2. I mean, 3. Yeah. Mm. Well, gosh, I didn't even. Here I am, and I don't see it. So it must have went to the wrong place. Here it is. It's in John 2. So the zeal for his house consumed him. That's zelos, zeal. Um, and this one, it doesn't use the word in my ESV. It does not use the word anger here. Now it seems to me it's in other places, so we need to look in other places. Okay, so we're going to push that aside, reconnect. There's a godly anger we should have. The enemy is not to take place in your life or my life when it comes to lack, when it comes to sickness, when it comes to thoughts that are defeating in our lives. People are defeated because of their thoughts they carry. So, what is my room like if I have defeated thoughts? It isn't godly thoughts because I am more than a conqueror. You and I are more than conquerors. God is working for good in our lives. That doesn't mean things that aren't so good aren't happening, but God is working for good. So, our expectation is good, not bad. Well, it always goes wrong for me. I guess it's going to go wrong again today. You stand against that. It was David Odepo in his book. No, it's not David Odepo. Let's see. Gotta think of this. Who is this? Maybe it was David. Maybe it was David. This minister says that he comes home. His wife is pregnant. His wife says, I've had a miscarriage. Yeah, isn't that where we were? Oh, it's near where we were at. So his wife has a miscarriage, and he says, like, not today. Nope, that's not happening here. And he said, serve me dinner. He just stood that she wasn't having a miscarriage. So even though she had said, I had a miscarriage, God reversed that. If you accept that testimony, that enemy of defeat, it becomes room in your mind, a place in your mind, and it will bring more defeat with it. When something doesn't agree with the more abundant life that Christ came to give you, you stand against that baby and you stand firm on that word of truth. Do we understand that? So you wanted to look at, I don't want to go all over. I'll look at this real quick. We'll look at this though. So you're talking James 2:14, right? Wait a minute. No, John 2:14, which is the scripture we had. That looked like James. Now it's John. Oh boy. Eyes, you see clearly. Okay. So you stand in the place that God has given you. Your stand is one of righteousness, justified, redeemed, sanctified. You have the ministry and ministry of the word and the ministry of reconciliation. The enemy doesn't take that from you. I tell you, maybe Wednesday, someone, Patty shared with me, Patty Wilkins, shared with me this video of, jeez, this guy, he's from Charis Bible College in one of the ministers in Colorado. And he was saying cliches. There's these sayings we have that we carry, um, like something happens and it isn't good. Well, God's sovereign, and that's just what he wanted to happen or something. And that is BS. Things happen because there's a God of this world. There's a reason that happened. Well, yeah, is that reason that we didn't stand on the word of God? You know, Adam and Eve were given dominion in the earth, authority, and they had authority over the serpent, the devil, right? but they gave that authority to him. The devil even said that which has been delivered unto me, that authority that they gave to him. But Christ came and restored it and made us that more than conquerors. Move the mountains, do all those things. No, you know what I mean? He went and says to this mountain, be removed. So you and I have this authority in us that is greater than the authority that Adam and Eve handed over, or I'll say Adam handed over, if you want to put it that way, handed over to the devil. Your and my authority is greater. So you and I take charge of circumstances, like that guy when his wife said, oh yeah, I've had a miscarriage, lost a baby. Not on my watch. Okay, let's have dinner, because that's settled already. We've too easily settled for get your mask on, which don't work anyway unless you got whatever. And then we gotta lock you down. We gotta put all this distance. Could you imagine Jesus doing that? They had how many diseases and things that they have then that they didn't have any protection for, and they would eat with unwashed hands. They would pass food to one another with unwashed hands. Do you think there was any fear in that place? No, there was no place for fear. You don't give place to the enemy, and you don't give place to fear. And so there is a godly anger and there's an ungodly anger, and the godly anger is not going to let the enemy take place. And even though the anger of man doesn't work the righteousness of God, there are moments that anger carries out. You just don't carry it out like, I'm going to be Dirty Harry, make my day and end yours. That's not what it's about. It's about ending the devil's day so he's defeated, and you and I live in authority and dominion, as you wrote there, Daniel. We live in victory. We live in power and might because we have a mighty spirit. So I hope there's something here there. I know there's something here that you can grab onto and you can get. And don't play games with the devil, because he'll just keep taking room if you let him. He'll keep squeezing in. So in your health, you stand against that baby. I don't care if you're taking medicine or something for it, but there's a point you've got to stand and see your deliverance. I have to stand and see my deliverance because it was bought and paid for. That's the medicine need to take. Charles Capps was the one that says, hey, you take the worldly medicine, take God's medicine. By his stripes I was healed. I am delivered. He sent his word and healed them. He heals all my diseases. Oh, he forgives all my sins, but he doesn't heal all my diseases. God, I don't get how you did the half deal. No, God did the full deal. You just don't give the enemy any room, place. And that's submitting to God and resisting the devil. It's not giving him any place. So let's stand for who we are. Let's see what God has declared and what's walked out and what he's promised, because those promises are not just for eternity, but for now, because godliness is not only profitable in the life to come, right? But it's profitable for the life now. And Jesus told Peter, he said that in this life, those are given up of their lives to live for God, they would receive now in this life 100-fold for what they give out. Not just eternity, where people go, eternity, it's going to be the great by and by. But here, well, I don't know about that. Now, he does say you're going to receive now, but he does say there will be tribulations in this world. But you and I rise above tribulation by the Spirit of God in us. Is the spirit of the enemy speaking to you? And is that what you're hearing? Or are you hearing the Spirit of God submitting to him and responding to that? And like a beeline on a light saber of light to the kingdom, you are focused, you are clear-headed, right? We're sober-minded, clear-headed, and we know my God has promised healing. My God has promised every supply, every need will be met, that he will make a way that I can have that whole mind, sound mind, and whatever it is. And so you know what? That's what I have, and that's what I'm going to live. And so let's stand, and let's stand every day, okay? And let's stand, as you wrote, Catherine, in victory, and as Daniel said, in authority and dominion, okay? We're not in this world to be defeated by it. We're here to show who Christ is and show the victory that we have.